Hey everyone, Bill here from the Sports Insanity Network, and welcome to another edition of Murphy's View. Well, it had to come to an end sometime. Today we're talking about the 7th and final episode of The Captain. Okay, so this takes place from 2014 to now. So, the episode begins with Derek Jeter's final home game at Yankee Stadium, which, for those who don't remember, in the bottom of the ninth inning after the Yankees blew a 5-2 lead, Derek Jeter comes up, runner on second, and one of the greatest moments I saw in my life, Derek Jeter hits a game-winning RBI single, and the Yankees ended up winning the game. As, in the words of Michael Kay, fantasy becomes reality. I am never going to forget that game as long as I live. I was on the couch in my house, and I remember the Giants were playing because it was a Thursday night, and I was flipping back between that and the Giant game, and at first I was telling myself, okay, I'll watch the first couple innings of the Yankee game and then strict Giants once kickoff starts. Because, to be honest, I didn't want to get emotional watching. But I ended up watching it because, okay, here's what happened. I was watching up in my room, then I went down to down to my living room. My dad was out, my mom was in bed, and I'm flipping between it. I remember the Giants were blowing out whoever they were playing. They were playing Washington. And I said, okay, you know what? I got to watch this Jeter's final couple innings in the Bronx. And then when it happened, I cheered so loud, and then I broke down crying. Because to Yankee fans in my generation and Danny Boy Reginald's generation, Yankee fans like us, that he was all we knew. At shortstop, Derek Jeter was basically all we knew. And it was the end of an era. So, his career is over. And we get into, more personal things, such as him and Hannah, who we talked about in the last vlog, are now married. And talked about their journey to becoming parents. And he now has 3 girls, because he said, I want all girls. And I think because Hannah said it best, I just want to say, first of all, Derek and Hannah Jeter and their girls are absolutely adorable. Like, they're just such an adorable family. They just really are. But Hannah was saying, I hope we got the girl first, because, Derek has been in the locker room with a bunch of guys. He needs something to crack him open a little bit. And he just loves, showing the video of him with his girls. It was just so cute. And just shows that, because when you usually see Derek Jeter, he's usually pretty stoic, but you show his kids pretty much bring out his soft side. And it just shows the real human part of him. And it also shows, okay, this episode is a little out of chronological order. It shows like early in the episode when him, his girls, Hannah, and his parents are waiting for the call from the Hall of Fame. When they say, congratulations, you're in. And it shows him getting into the Hall of Fame. First ballot, which he should, and he did. And I love in his speech when he goes, I'd like to thank all the baseball writers, except one who didn't vote for me. I still want to find out who didn't vote for him. I really do. I investigated that guy. I swear I'm investigating him. Nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't have the time, or the money, or the patience to conduct this investigation. But I hope you know what you did, good sir, but you were overruled. Take that. But yeah, so it shows his Hall of Fame induction. Like I said, then it bounces around, which I'll be honest, I do not like things that are not in chronological order. It kind of drives me a little crazy, but hey, they do them. So anyway, so shows immediately after retirement that he has another dream. He wants to own a baseball team. And it shows that in 2017, him and a guy named Bruce Sherman, I think his name was, they ended up buying the Florida Marlins. And everyone thought this was a great idea because, you have someone who knows baseball. Derek Jeter, who is one of the most iconic people of all time. And unfortunately, his patch as Marlins owner is kind of not a great one. He was there for 4 seasons. They did make it to the postseason one time, so there's something good. But, when they first got there, he traded Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees, traded Christian Yelich to the Brewers, and he had these goals for the team, but unfortunately didn't go anywhere, and in 2021, he resigned. But while he was there, he made some groundbreaking moves on the business side. Like, he hired Charlotte O'Connor as his chief of staff and was promoted to chief operating officer, which at the time, she was one of the highest ranking officials in baseball, and then hired Kim Negg, I think that's how you say her name, as the first female general manager in baseball, who he knew her when she worked front office for the Yankees. So, Jeter really made some big changes in the front office in Florida. And it also showed how his father said, an important thing for you to be is a role model as a black man, because he was the first black CEO in baseball. And he said, is to be a role model. And first of all, he was a role model. I'll get more into that in a minute. And to give back to the community. I have to say, after seeing all these interviews with him, I have a lot of respect for Dr. Charles Jeter. This was a man who instilled good values in both Derek and his sister Charlotte. Okay, and while I'm going, I want to correct something. In the first episode, I said that Charlotte was older than Derek. I was wrong. Derek is actually older than her, so correction. I'm sorry. But Dr. Jeter and his wife really instilled good values in both of them and saying you need to give back to the community. And they touched upon this in a previous episode, and I didn't talk about it, which I feel so bad for, how he started the Turn 2 Foundation, which gets kids away from drugs and alcohol and trouble. And now they're focused on healthy lifestyles, and now they're focused on a lot of social change, which is really sounds just like a great organization. And, Derek Jeter has his Jeter's Leaders, which ingrains leadership into young people. So he really followed his dad's advice. And Dr. Jeter, if you're watching this, well done. You raised 2 great kids. You really did. And, more of the episode, it talks about, getting back to the personal life. It talks about how during Hannah's pregnancies, she suffered hemorrhages. And, this was right around when his oldest was born. Right before he was going to take... Right before he was going to take... That he was taking the job as the new CEO. Hannah almost passed away. And that has got to be really hard. You just had a kid. Your wife almost died, and you have to take a new job. That's tough. That is just really, really tough. And she had similar complications when their second child was born. And I can't imagine going through something like that. Like, those are just strong-willed people. They really are. But, yeah, and that's pretty much it in the, episode and the series. And, I just want to say, watching this series was very nostalgic for me. You know, as you all know, I am a huge Yankee fan. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, as you all know. If you've watched this or if you've listened to the podcast, you know I'm a Yankee fan. Derek Jeter growing up was one of my childhood heroes. He was one of my childhood heroes. And I just loved watching him. Not only was he just a great player, just a great around human being. And this series just gave me more respect for him than I had than ever before. And I think Michael Jordan said it best. And he said, you know, Derek Jeter, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, Derek Jeter will bring out the great, not in just sports, not in just baseball, but in life. And brings out the greatness in other people. This is someone who really had a dream from the time he was a little kid. Never gave up. He busted his ass. And he achieved his dream of being shortstop for the New York Yankees. I have friends who are not Yankee fans, who hate the Yankees, who are Met fans, who are Red Sox fans. But they always say, I hate the Yankees, but I cannot hate Derek Jeter. And how can you? This man is the epitome of class. And just a hero all around. And Jimmy Rollins said it best. He is a cultural icon. And while, going through this series and watching it, I remember in the first, Derek Jeter brought this franchise back from the dead. He made the Yankees relevant again. I was watching in the first episode, if you remember, in 1995, which was his first year, with him and Mariano and Pettit and Jorge. I want to say it was Joel Sherman. I could be wrong, from the New York Post. But after the Yankees lost the 1995 ALDS, I remember he said, if you told me that next year this was going to be the beginning of a dynasty, I would think you were crazy. I would say you were crazy. And he brought this franchise back from the dead. He made the Yankees relevant again. He made the Yankees respectable again. And I'm getting emotional talking about this right now. It was good to see all of this. And, I really enjoyed this series. It was a nice stroll down memory lane. And I remember he said, well, what do you want to be remembered when somebody asks, what do you want to be remembered as when you retire? And he goes, I want to be remembered as a Yankee. There is a sign, many of you fans know this, when you walk into the tunnel of Yankee Stadium, you walk out, there's a sign, a quote by Joe DiMaggio that says, I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee. Derek Jeter just didn't touch that sign. He lived that sign. And yeah, that was I'm sorry, I'm getting proclaimed right now, but he was just such a, he was a role model to me and to a bunch of other people. And he's going down as one of the Yankee greats, along with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle and Thurman Munson and Reggie Jackson and Don Mattingly. Like, and also, this episode was actually dedicated to his friend and is one of his best friends and former teammate, Gerald Williams, who unfortunately passed away this past February. And he is interviewed in this series, so I'm sure that all his interviews were filmed before he passed. And he was actually godfather to Derek Jeter's second child, so rest in peace, Gerald Williams. But anyway, yeah, so that's the Captain. I really enjoyed this series. Like I said, it was just really nostalgic. Going down memory lane, seeing, going back, reliving those days. And it was really great watching. If you're a Yankee fan, you will love this. If you liked The Last Dance, the one about Michael Jordan, you will like this. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Captain. I really hope you enjoyed me giving you my thoughts on this. I really enjoyed this series. Unfortunately, that's the end of it. But don't worry. More stuff's coming. Football season's coming up. We got some football stuff coming. If you like what you see, and why wouldn't you? Because isn't this stuff amazing? Go to www.thesportsinsanityNetwork.com. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Check out our blogs, check out our bios, and check out all our podcasts, such as Wishbone Shotgun, Breakaway Bandits, 19th Hole, The Face Turn, and the granddaddy, the one that started it all, the Sports Insanity Podcast. Thank you very much, folks. I'm Bill Murphy. I will see you next time. Stay safe, and take care, my friends.